You keep pouring, pouring, and pouring some more. You show up carrying kindness, patience, and grace. And still, there are people in your life who don't treat you the way you truly deserve. So let me ask you something important today. What if the issue isn't that you're too gentle? What if the real issue is that you've been mistaking gentleness for self-abandonment? Here's what I believe. I believe that gentle women are some of the most powerful women on this earth. Not loud power, not aggressive power, but the kind of power that heals, the kind that nurtures, the kind that builds families, communities, and legacies. Gentleness is not weakness. Let me repeat that because I really need you to hear it. Gentleness is not weakness. It's actually a gift, a rare and beautiful gift. But here's what happens to so many gentle women. Because they lead with kindness, because they care so deeply for others, because they crave peace and harmony in their relationships, they start to lose something precious. They start to lose themselves. They give until nothing is left. They bend so far that they snap. And over time, the very people they love most begin taking them for granted. Not always because those people are bad, but because when you don't respect yourself, you quietly teach others it's fine not to respect you either. And this is exactly why this conversation matters. Because you are not here to be used up. You are not here to be overlooked. You are not here to spend your whole life pouring into cups full of holes. You are here to live fully, to love deeply, to be honored for who you are. And that only becomes possible when your gentleness is joined with something else. Something I call quiet power. The power to hold boundaries. The power to say no. The power to protect your peace without losing your warmth. This is what separates a woman who gets taken for granted from a woman who is truly respected. And that's exactly what we're covering today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 things gentle women must stop doing if they want real respect. These aren't about turning hard. They're not about becoming cold or unkind. They're about becoming whole. They're about reclaiming pieces of yourself you may have given away over the years. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's been standing between you and the respect you deserve. And more importantly, you'll walk away with practical, gentle steps you can start applying today. Not to change who you are, but to honor who you are. So let's dive in. Thing number 1. Stop apologizing for having needs. Let's begin with something so many gentle women wrestle with: apologizing for having needs. Have you ever said something along these lines? "I'm sorry to bother you. I hate to ask, but I know this is a lot, but I just need." If those phrases ring a bell, pay close attention, because here's what's really going on. When you apologize for having needs, you're telling the world and yourself that your needs are a burden, an inconvenience, somehow less important than everyone else's. But let me ask you this. When your child needs something, is that a burden? When your best friend needs your help, do you view her as an inconvenience? Of course not. So why do you treat your own needs like something shameful? Here's why this matters so much. When you constantly apologize for having needs, you draw in people who are happy to let you keep apologizing. You attract people who confirm the very belief you seem to hold, that your needs don't matter. And over time, you end up in relationships, friendships, even workplaces where you're always the giver and never the receiver. This breeds exhaustion, resentment, loneliness, music, and eventually a life where you feel invisible. Let me give you an example. Picture a woman named Grace. Grace is 43. She's a mother, a wife, a professional, the one everybody calls when they need something. Need a ride? Call Grace. Need someone to cover your shift? Call Grace. Need emotional support at 2 loud in the morning? Call Grace. And Grace always says yes, always shows up, always gives. But when Grace needs something, she hesitates to ask. She opens every request with an apology. I'm sorry. I know you're busy, but could you maybe pick up the kids today? I hate to ask, but I really need a night to myself. What happens? People begin treating her needs as optional because that's exactly how she frames them. So here's what I want you to do instead. First, practice stating your needs without an apology attached. Not demanding, not aggressive, but clear, calm, and dignified. Instead of, I'm sorry to bother you, try, I'd like to ask you something. Instead of, I hate to ask, but I need help, try, I could really use your help with this. Notice the difference. One sounds like begging. The other sounds like a woman who knows her worth. Second, remind yourself of this truth, music every single day. Having needs doesn't make you needy. It makes you human. Every person on this planet has needs. The difference is that high-value women don't hide theirs. They voice them with grace and surround themselves with people who feel honored to meet them. So starting today, no more apologizing for being a human being with human music needs. Your needs are valid. Your needs matter. Your needs deserve to be spoken aloud without shame. Thing number 2, stop over-explaining yourself. The second thing gentle women must let go of is over-explaining. Let me paint a picture. Someone asks why you can't make it to an event. A simple, I can't make it would be music plenty, but instead, you say something like this. Oh, I'm so sorry. I really wish I could come. But you see, my daughter has this thing at school, and my husband is working late that night. And I've also been feeling really tired lately. And I know I said I would try, but with everything going on, it's just really hard. And I feel so bad because I know how much this means to you. Sound familiar? Here's what over-explaining really is. It's a defense mechanism. It's an attempt to justify your decision so completely that no one could possibly be upset with you. But here's the catch. When you over-explain, you signal to people that your no is up for negotiation. You hand them openings to push back. You imply that you don't fully trust your own decision. And most of all, you drain yourself. You pour so much energy into defending your choices that nothing is left for actually living your life. Let me tell you why this matters for your respect and your presence. A woman with quiet power doesn't owe a 20-minute explanation for her decisions. She simply decides. She communicates with clarity and trusts that people who love her will get it even without the long story. Think about the women you admire most, the ones with that magnetic presence. Do they ramble, justify, and explain? Or do they speak simply, clearly, and move forward? Here's the truth. Your no is a complete sentence. Your I can't is a complete sentence. Your this doesn't work for me is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a dissertation on why you made the choices you made. Now, I'm not saying you should be cold or dismissive. Warmth and brevity can coexist. You can say, I appreciate the invitation, but I won't be able to make it. I hope you have a wonderful time. That's kind, that's gracious, music, and that's complete. So here's what I want you to practice. Next time you need to decline something, set a boundary, or make a decision someone might question, pause and breathe. Say what needs saying in the fewest words possible. And then, here's the hard part. Stop talking. Don't fill the silence with explanations. Don't backpedal. Just let your words stand. It'll feel uncomfortable at first. But over time, you'll notice something beautiful. People will start respecting your words more because you're showing them you respect your own words. And that is the energy of a high-value woman. Thing number 3. Stop accepting treatment that doesn't match your worth. Now let's talk about something that can be painful to admit. Sometimes gentle women accept treatment far below what they deserve. Not because they don't know their worth, but because they're hoping things will shift. They hope that if they love hard enough, give enough, wait long enough, the other person will finally notice them, finally appreciate them, finally treat them the way they've always deserved. But here's what I've learned about life and about love. Hope is beautiful, but hope without boundaries is dangerous. Because while you're hoping and waiting and giving, you're also losing time, losing energy, losing pieces of yourself you may never recover. Let me share us a scenario. Picture a woman named Diane. Diane is 51. She's been married 25 years. Her husband isn't cruel. He doesn't yell. He doesn't hit. But he doesn't really see her either. He comes home and barely asks about her day. He makes decisions without consulting her. He brushes off her feelings when she tries to voice them. And Diane has told herself for years, at least he provides. At least he's music faithful. At least it's not that bad. But here's the question I'd put to Diane. Is not that bad really what you dreamed of? At least the love story you wanted for your life, because you deserve more than at least. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve someone who doesn't just tolerate you, but music treasures you. Now, I'm not telling you to leave your marriage or end your relationships. That's not mine to say. But I am telling you to stop accepting treatment that makes you feel invisible. To stop settling for emotional scraps when you deserve the full meal. To stop convincing yourself you're asking too much when you're really just asking for basic human respect. So what music can you do? First, get honest with yourself. Ask, how does this person make me feel about myself? Not in the good moments. Anyone can be kind in good moments. But in the hard moments, in the everyday moments, do you feel valued, respected, seen? Or do you feel small, unimportant, invisible? Snorts. Second, communicate your needs clearly, not with music, anger, not with accusations, but with calm, plain honesty. I need to feel like my opinion matters in this relationship. I need to feel appreciated for what I do. I need more connection with you. And third, this matters. Watch their response, not just music, their words, but their actions. Because someone who truly loves and respects you will want to meet your needs. Music. They might not be perfect. They might stumble, but they'll try. And if they don't try, if they dismiss you, minimize you, or guilt you for having needs, then you have real information about what this relationship actually is. And you get to decide what to do with that information. Because at the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you, and a high-value woman teaches people she will not accept less than she deserves. Thing number 4, stop being available all the time. The fourth thing gentle women must stop doing is staying constantly available. Available at all hours for all people, for all requests. Available even when exhausted. Available even when falling apart. Available even when every fiber of their being is begging for rest. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were genuinely unreachable? Not just physically away, but mentally and emotionally unavailable to the world's demands. For many gentle women, the answer is they can't recall, because they've built their whole identity around being there for others. And while that's beautiful in many ways, it's also risky. Here's why. When you're always available, you never get time for yourself. Never time to rest, to think, to dream, to heal. You become a woman running on empty. And a woman running on empty eventually has nothing left to give. But there's another reason this matters. When you're always available, People stop valuing your time, not because they're bad people, but because you've shown them your time seems endless, that there's always more, that you can always squeeze in one more thing. So they stop being careful with it. They stop respecting it. They start taking it for granted. Let me give you an example. There's a woman I'll call Maria. Maria is 47. She works full-time. She has 2 teenagers. She looks after her aging mother on weekends. And everyone in her life knows Maria is the one who handles everything. Her phone is never off. Her answer is always yes. Her boundaries are invisible. Music. And what has this cost her? Her health is suffering. She can't sleep. She's gained music weight. She gets headaches daily. Her relationship stays shallow because she has no time for real connection. And the worst music part, she no longer even knows who she is outside of what she does for others. Maria isn't living, she's surviving. And slowly, she's fading away. I don't want that for you. So here's what I want you to consider. You're allowed to be unavailable sometimes. You're allowed to switch off your phone. You're allowed to say, I can't help with that right now. You're allowed to put yourself on your own schedule, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. Here's something practical you can start today. Carve out time in your week that's just for you. Not errands, not work, not helping others, just for you. Maybe it's an hour on Sunday morning. Maybe it's 30 minutes every evening once the kids are in bed. Whatever it is, guard that time fiercely. Let people know you're unavailable during it. And don't feel guilty about it. Because when you take care of yourself, you become a better version of yourself. More energy, more patience, more love, and, ironically, you become better able to serve the people who matter most. But only once you stop draining yourself dry first. Protect your music time. Protect your energy. Because a woman who's always available for everyone else becomes unavailable to herself. And that isn't a life. That's a slow disappearing act. Number 5. Stop ignoring red flags to keep the peace. Now we arrive at something especially important for gentle women. Ignoring red flags to keep the peace. Let me explain what I mean. A red flag is a warning sign. It's something telling you, pay attention. Something isn't right here. Red flags show up in relationships, friendships, work situations, even family dynamics. And here's what gentle women often do with them. They see them. They feel them. Their gut knows something is off. But rather than address the red flag, they talk themselves out of it. They think things like, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Maybe if I just try harder, it'll get better. And so they sweep the red flag under the rug. They smile. They keep the peace. They move on. But here's the problem. Red flags don't vanish just because you ignore them. They grow. What begins as small disrespect turns into a pattern of disrespect. What begins as a tiny boundary violation becomes a total erosion of your boundaries. What begins as unease becomes a feeling of being trapped somewhere you can't escape. And by the time you finally admit there's a problem, so much damage has already been done to your confidence, your peace, your sense of self. Let me share something with you. I believe your intuition is a gift. That quiet voice inside saying something feels wrong. That's not anxiety. That's not overthinking. That's wisdom. And gentle women often carry very strong intuition, but they've been trained to override it. They've been told that being a good woman means being agreeable, keeping the peace, not making waves, not stirring conflict. And so they silence their own inner knowing to keep others comfortable. But here's what I need you to understand. Keeping the peace at the expense of your inner peace isn't peace at all. It's self-betrayal. And every time you betray yourself to make someone else comfortable, You chip away at your own foundation. So what should you do instead? First, start trusting your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. You don't need proof. You don't need permission. You don't need to justify the feeling. You just need to pay attention to it. Second, don't rush to excuse bad behavior. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I'll say that again because it matters so much. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't make excuses. Don't spin stories in your head about why they did what they did. Just observe and take note. Third, address red flags early. The sooner you address a problem, the easier it is to resolve. A calm, clear conversation at the start can spare you years of pain later. And here's the beautiful part about addressing red flags. It reveals who someone really is. When you voice a concern, watch how they respond. Do they listen? Do they apologize? Do they try to understand? Or do they dismiss you, blame you, make you feel crazy for even bringing it up? Their response tells you everything you need to know. Someone who respects you will welcome your honesty. Someone who doesn't will punish you for it. And once you know that, you can make informed choices about who deserves space in your life. So stop ignoring the red flags. Your music intuition is trying to protect you. Let it. Stop putting everyone else first, always. The sixth thing gentle women must stop doing is constantly putting everyone else first. Now I want to be careful here, because putting others first isn't always a bad thing. In fact, it can be one of the most beautiful expressions of love. When you care for your children, you put their needs first. When you support your partner through a rough patch, you put their needs first. When you help a friend in crisis, you put their needs first. That's not the issue. The issue is when putting others first becomes a permanent way of living, when you never come first. When your needs always sit at the bottom of the list. When everyone around you is fed, supported, and cared for, but you're running on empty. This is what I want to talk about, because so many gentle women live this way for years. They give and give and give, and never stop to ask themselves, who is giving to me? Who is pouring into my cup? Who is making sure I'm okay? And far too often, the answer is no one, because they've trained everyone around them not to worry about them. They've been so capable, so selfless, so uncomplaining that people assume they need nothing. But you do need things. You need rest. You need appreciation. You need music support. You need to feel like you matter, not just for what you do, but for who you are. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Sandra. Sandra is 44, a single mother of 3. She works 2 jobs. She never misses her kids' events. She handles everything. And everyone says, Sandra is so strong. Sandra can handle anything. But what they don't see is Sandra crying in the car before walking into the house. They don't see Sandra too exhausted to eat dinner. They don't see Sandra forgetting what it feels like to be cared for, because Sandra has made herself invisible. She's become a function instead of a person. And here's the hardest truth of all. Sandra didn't just fall into this role. She built it, not on purpose, not because she wanted to suffer, but because she never learned it was okay to ask for help. She never learned it was okay to put herself first sometimes. She never learned that self-care isn't selfish. And so she kept giving until there was almost nothing left. I don't want that for you. So here's what I want you to do. Start putting yourself on your own list. Not at the bottom, but somewhere near the top. Ask yourself daily, what do I need today? And then try to give yourself at least one of those things. Maybe it's 10 minutes of quiet. Maybe it's a meal you actually sit down and enjoy. Maybe it's saying no to something music, so you have energy left for something you genuinely want to do. Also, let people help you. I know this is hard for gentle women. We want to be the helpers, not the helped. But receiving isn't weakness. Receiving is trust. It's letting others show up for you the way you show up for them. It's giving them the gift of being needed. So stop being a martyr. Stop wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. Stop treating yourself like an afterthought. You matter. Your needs matter. Your well-being matters. And the women who grasp this are the ones who can sustain their gentleness for a lifetime, because they're not running on empty. They're running on a full, nourished heart. Thing number 7. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And now we reach the 7th and final thing. This might be the most important one yet. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. What do I mean by shrinking? I mean making yourself smaller, quieter, less visible, less you, so someone else doesn't feel threatened, so someone else doesn't feel insecure, so you don't stand out too much, so you don't intimidate anyone with your light. Gentle women do this constantly. They dim their intelligence in conversation, so they don't come across as a know-it-all. They downplay their success so they don't make others feel bad. They hide their beauty, their talents, their dreams, because they don't want to be too much. But here's what I need you to understand. You were not born to be small. You were not placed on this earth to make yourself invisible so others could feel better about themselves. You were placed here to shine, to be fully and unapologetically yourself, to offer your gift to the world without apology. And when you shrink, everyone loses. You lose because you're not living your truth, and the world loses because it doesn't get to experience the full expression of who you are. Let me tell you about a woman I'll call Amara. Amara is 38. Brilliant, creative, magnetic, but for years she hid it. At work, she let others take credit for her ideas. In relationships, she dated men who couldn't handle her success, so she pretended to be less than she was. With friends, she toned herself down so she wouldn't outshine anyone. And what did this cost her? It cost her promotions she'd earned. It cost her relationships that could have been deep and meaningful. It cost her years spent living a half-life. One day, Amara realized something. She realized that the right people, the ones who truly loved and respected her, would never ask her to shrink. The right people would celebrate her light. They'd stand beside her, not feel threatened by her. They'd be proud of who she was, and anyone who couldn't handle her at full brightness wasn't her person anyway. So Amara stopped shrinking. She started speaking up in meetings. She started setting standards in her relationships. She started showing up as the full, radiant woman she'd always been. And yes, some people fell away. Some couldn't handle it. But the ones who stayed, the ones who gathered around her, they were her true tribe. And her life became richer, deeper, and more aligned with who she was meant to be. This is what I want for you. So here's what you can do. First, notice the moments when you shrink. When do you quiet your voice? When do you hold back your opinion? When do you make yourself less visible than you truly are? Notice these moments. Get curious about them and start choosing differently. Second, remind yourself your light isn't the problem. If someone is uncomfortable with your success, your beauty, your intelligence, your presence, that's their work to do, not yours. You're not responsible for managing other people's insecurities. You're responsible for being fully you. Third, surround yourself with people who celebrate you, people who aren't threatened by your light, people who want to see you win, people who rise with you, not compete with you. These are your people. Find them, treasure them, and release the ones who want you small. Because a high-value woman doesn't shrink. She expands. She takes up space. She honors her own presence. And in doing so, she gives other women permission to do the same. Now, before we wrap up, I want to offer you a gentle mindset shift. Because I know many of these habits didn't appear from nowhere. They were taught to you. Maybe you were taught that good women are always nice, always agreeable, always quiet. Maybe you were taught that having needs is selfish, that putting yourself first is wrong, that keeping the peace at any cost is your job. Maybe you watched your mother do this, or your grandmother, or every woman in your family, and so you learned to do it too. I want you to know I understand. These patterns run deep. They're not your fault. But here's what else I want you to know. Just because something was taught to you doesn't mean it's true. And just because you've done something your whole life doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. You get to choose differently starting today. You get to decide that your gentleness and self-music respect can coexist, that you can be kind and have boundaries, that you can be loving and still say music, no, that you can be a gentle woman with a fierce commitment to her own well-being. This isn't selfish. This is wise. This is what it means to truly value yourself. And when you value yourself, everything shifts. Your relationships shift. Your energy shifts. Your entire life shifts. Because you start drawing in people who see your worth. People who don't want to take from you. People who want to give to you as much as you give to them. This is what respect actually looks like. Not fear, not control, not forcing people to treat you well, but drawing respect naturally because of who you are and how you carry yourself. And it all starts with you, with the choices you make every day, with the boundaries you set, with the way music you speak to yourself, with the way you show the world how you expect to be music treated. So I invite you to release the old beliefs. Thank them for trying to protect you, and then let them go, and in their place adopt a new truth. A truth that says, I am worthy of respect. I am allowed to have needs. I am allowed to take up space. I am allowed to be gentle and still be powerful. My kindness is not weakness. My boundaries are not selfishness. My light is not too bright. I am exactly who I was created to be, and I will no longer apologize for it. Let that become your new foundation. Let that be the ground you stand on, and watch how your life begins to transform. So let's take a moment to recap what we covered today. 7 things gentle women must stop doing if they want real respect. Number 1. Stop apologizing for having needs. Your needs are valid. Your needs matter. Voice them without shame. Number 2. Stop over-explaining yourself. Your decisions belong to you. You don't need long explanations to justify them. Speak simply and trust your own words. Number 3. Stop accepting treatment that doesn't match your worth. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. Don't settle for emotional scraps when you deserve the whole meal. Number 4. Stop being available all the time. Your time is precious. Protect it. Make room for yourself. A woman pouring from an empty cup has nothing left to give. Number 5. Stop ignoring red flags to keep the peace. Your intuition is a gift. Listen to it. Address problems early. Don't trade your inner peace for false harmony. Number 6. Stop putting everyone else first always. You matter too. You belong on your own list. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. And number 7. Stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. You were born to shine. Don't dim your light for anyone. The right people will celebrate you, not compete with you. These 7 shifts aren't about turning hard. They're about becoming whole. They're about pairing your beautiful gentleness with the quiet power of self-respect. And here's what I want you to hold on to as you move through your day. It's not too music late. It doesn't matter how long you've lived these patterns. It doesn't matter how many years you spent putting yourself last. Every moment is a chance to start over. Every day is an opportunity to choose differently. You carry so much wisdom inside you. You carry so much strength. You've survived things that would have broken others. And you're still here, still gentle, still kind, still open. That is not weakness. That is remarkable resilience. So don't let anyone convince you that your gentleness is a flaw. It's your superpower, but only when it's protected, only when it's paired with boundaries and self-worth, only when you know in your bones that you deserve every bit of the love and respect you give to others. And you do deserve it, every single bit of it. So walk forward with your head held high. Walk forward knowing you are valuable. Walk forward knowing that the right people will recognize your worth. And if they don't, then they're not your people. Your people are out there. They're waiting for you. And when you show up fully, gentle and strong, kind and boundaried, tender and powerful, they will see you and they will honor you. Because that's what happens when a woman finally learns to honor herself. The whole world takes notice, and the whole world rises to meet her. If this message touched your heart today, I'd be so grateful if you'd share it with another woman who needs to hear it, because there are so many gentle women out there quietly struggling, giving everything and receiving so little. Music who've forgotten they deserve respect too, and maybe your share could be the thing that reminds them. If you found value in this video, please take a moment to hit that like button. It helps this message reach more women who need it. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and become part of this community. This is a space for women who want to grow, women who want to rise, women who believe that gentleness and strength can live in the same heart. Before you go, I have a question for you. Tell me in the comments which of these 7 things touched you the most today. Which one felt like it was speaking directly to your situation? I read every comment, and I would love to hear from you, because your story matters. Your voice, music matters. And in this space you will always be seen. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for trusting me with your attention. And thank you for being the kind of woman who wants to grow. That takes courage, and I honor you for it. Until next time, you are worthy, you are powerful, you are enough exactly as you are. Take care of yourself, beautiful woman.